people have a way of changing from being a sweet, innocent child into a grotesque, evil, wicked, and cruel person. So, how does somebody get to that point? How does someone go to church, have summer camps, have lots of friends, and seemingly look normal on the surface, while deep inside in their evil brain, they're thinking of ways to murder you and get away with it? Right? Well, you have to look at the Bible to understand this question. Okay, without the Bible, you cannot answer how people become evil and why they're evil. Because the Bible says no one is perfect, no, not one. We are all sinners, right? But one verse, I forget where, somewhere in Matthew, Jesus talks about the heart is deceitful above all things. So guard your heart, right? What you eat, if you eat bad food, you throw it up, it goes out your stomach, it goes out, right? But within your heart comes within and goes out, okay? So if you have a dirty heart, you have a dirty mind. So you have these people that talk about, right, like Ted Bundy, who should have turned out normal, right? Ted Bundy, in the book Conversation with a Serial Killer, he said he even analyzed his own background. Now keep in mind, he had appeals going on, he was trying to be innocent, talking in third person, so some of what he says is a little crappy, but he said himself, he analyzed his background, he said nothing should have caused him to do what he did, right? He was an illegitimate child. He never really had a girlfriend in high school, never went drinking, but then lots of kids do it, right? I never went out drinking. I never went to parties in high school. I'm not a mass murderer, right? A lot of us turn out that way. But the problem, and one thing, this is also what you brought up, is that the sooner you start having these twisted fantasies, the worse they become in adulthood, right? Ted Bundy had these fantasies as a child of murdering people, of sexually assaulting people, okay? And as a child, you should not be having those thoughts. Yes, as a child, you're curious, you're going into your body, you're exploring the opposite sex. That's perfectly normal. That's curiosity, right? But he was going beyond that. The same thing with Son of Sam, David Berkowitz. He had these odd fantasies as a child, right? And I always talk about Jeffrey Dahmer. He would feel the insides of animals, right? So this is not normal behavior for a child. You have to have a baseline to know where deviance is. And a baseline for a child is you should be playing football and baseball and hang out with friends. You should be social. But these people are antisocial people, okay? They do not like people. They can be around people. They can be the life of the party. But meanwhile, they could not care less if you died, okay? They are planning ways to manipulate you. They are trying to use you as much as they can and then throw you away like yesterday's garbage, okay? That's what you have to realize. These people are narcissistic cannibals, okay? Not all of them are cannibals, but they're all narcissists, okay? You cannot tell these people that they've done wrong. You cannot tell them that what they did was evil and unjust. They know what they did was wrong, but they will not feel sympathy for it, okay? David Berkowitz, I said before, he killed his mother's bird. And he mourned with his mother. It was all fake, but he still mourned with her, right? Because you have to keep up these facades of, I'm a normal person. When Ted Bundy was dating Liz Kendall, or Liz Cleffer, as her name was then, but she used the pseudonym, he never could really cook for her or do romantic gestures, take her on date nights. He couldn't really express his love for her while he was with her because during that time he was also murdering women and also having other romantic partners, right? He was not a loyal person by any means. But he talked about in an interview that he had to have this Ted Bundy facade going on, right? Like the devil be tamed, you know, like this guy was a murderer. He decapitated women. He was necrophiliac. He was pure evil, but he had to retain this image of normal, of loving, caring, right? Because Ted Bundy said, I use this quote all the time, we serial killers, we're your sons, we are your husbands, we are everywhere. Everybody expects an evil person to be wearing horns, right? And missing teeth and long hair and looking homeless and beating on kids and stealing candy from babies. Those are not the real monsters. Those are bad people, but they're not the real monsters. The real monsters are the lawyers, the nurses, the doctors. The serial killers who had the highest count, the highest body count, are actually angels of death, right? The nurses who inject insulin, the doctors who create natural heart attacks, right? They are estimated to have 200, 300 plus people and higher, okay? You think Ted Bundy is a big deal with his 30 or so, and the Hillside Strangler with 13. These people are estimated to have hundreds, okay? So these people are very capable of hiding in plain sight, and that's what you have to realize. David Berkowitz was a postal worker, right? Dahmer worked at a chocolate factory. BTK, Dennis Rader, right? One of the worst, who he literally just killed for sport. He was a dog catcher, right? And all these people were loving, sweet, caring people on the surface. Underneath, you look inside of them, they were evil, twisted monsters. And you can agree with me or disagree, but these people expose themselves to darkness in childhood, okay? They expose themselves to the devil, and the devil used that. Michael Caparelli, a great guy, he's a doctorate in behavior science. He made a great point that the devil will make or will take what's natural and make it super, right? The devil doesn't just all of a sudden incarnate you and take a hold of you and make you murder and assault people, right? You already have that anger, those fantasies inside of you that have been festering for years and years and getting worse and worse. And the devil uses those tools to slowly pull you over to his side, right? Just not out all at once, not a big gesture, but slowly, right? By the music you listen, the shows you watch, the fantasies, the dreams you have. So the devil can use those things in very small but powerful ways. And that's why it's important to have God in your life and God in your heart and have a pure heart to fight against that evil, right? We wrestle not against flesh and bones, but against the spirits of the heavenly spirits of the spiritual realms, right? The demons come to attack you, but God also sends his angels to protect us, okay? So that is it for today. I hope you learned something from this, a little bit into a psychotic mind. God bless you guys. I pray you have a great Tuesday. Stay true to yourself, stay true to crime, and I will see you next video, guys.